in the world.
What's up, friends? My name is Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti, and I'm exhausted. Yesterday was a long day. Yesterday I flew a gig at a wedding. Wait, I put my nose is having a hard time. I got sunburned last week, and my nose took the brunt of it. And I put lotion on my nose. Hopefully it's not still all white. Yeah, FPV at weddings. Wow, interesting combination. The too long didn't read is that weddings are very run and gun, and that's not a great fit for FPV, I don't think. Maybe it is. I don't know. There are a lot of opportunities to screw up from a filming standpoint, and from a settings standpoint, and from a potentially to hit somebody's standpoint. Didn't hit anybody, of course. I missed a couple of, forgot to put an ND filter on at one point. Light dropped too low inside at another point. So I'm not, you know, the whole gig didn't go completely perfect. And that makes me, you know, like, beat myself up. That's a part of getting really good at stuff, you know? You gotta be very self-critical to get really good at things. So yeah, it's all part of it. But I got some really good footage. It's actually rendering over here on the Mac Mini right now through Real Steady Go. And yeah. It was so I've done photography for weddings before, and it's absolutely brutal. Wedding photography, here's the best description of wedding photography. It's a good way to get out of photography. It's just merciless, man. It's brutal. People are losing their minds. Athix says live stream Discord. What's that mean? Yeah, it's infinitely stressful. Bridezillas will sue you if you miss a shot. Like if if you miss the big shot of their big kiss or whatever, they will sue you. It's unbelievable. It brings out the absolute worst in human beings. So yeah, I really don't recommend it as a photographer. As an FPV pilot, man, I just don't know. It was, I'm glad that I had the experience, but if I'm given another chance to do it, I feel like I maybe want to do it one more time, but I don't know, man. I was on site at 10 a.m. I didn't get out of there until 11:30 p.m. There was a Bravo film crew there that, so I did it for half of my day rate with the promise of a bunch of exposure on Bravo, and sometimes this is one of the problems with taking exposure instead of money, is that you're opening yourself up to that not happening. And that's exactly what happened in this case. And I knew that. I knew there was a chance of that happening. You know, I still made more money than I usually would on a Saturday. And I love I love a challenge. I love like a hard day of work where I'm just completely shot at the end of it. So like no regrets whatsoever. But, you know, just a different experience that I'm really glad that I had. This is my full-time job, the live streams. If you enjoy the live streams and you want to see them keep on going, head on over to CiottiFPV.com. The thing on there that helps me out the most is Patreon. You can join my Patreon for $3 whole a month. That's only 10 cents a day. Ton of benefits, audio versions of all these live streams so you can just listen from your pocket. Although, you know what I noticed? The YouTube application, for the first time ever on my iPhone, I had a YouTube video playing. I updated my YouTube application on here. I had a video playing, and I hit hold to shut the screen off, and it kept playing. And YouTube came up on my little whatever screen, allowing me to just play the audio. So if that's the case, I'm actually going to stop, because it takes me a good amount of time to create and post the audio versions of these streams on Patreon. If YouTube is working like this now, I don't need to do that anymore, which is awesome, because like I said, it takes a good amount of time. I would love to put that time into something else. So let me know. Those of you that have been using the RSS feeds of the audio versions of these live streams, do me a favor and let me know if your YouTubes are working in the same way, and maybe I'll stop doing that. That will also remove a ton of junk from the Patreon page, which is great. That'll make it easier to find the tech articles and stuff like that. Although you should be using the tags at the top of... I take the time to add a tag or two to every single Patreon post. And when you go to my Patreon, on the top there, it has all those tags listed out. So there'll be a Tech Talk tag that has like 15 posts. You click that and it only shows you the posts that I've tagged with Tech Talk. There's an audio tag. You hit that, it only shows the audio posts. There's a tag that says weights. You click that and it's all these posts of me weighing random shit. So yeah, you should be using those tags because I post on Patreon about every single one of these live streams, and there's 3 or 4 a week. So that like grenades the Patreon. Lots of other benefits. You're gonna get access to the full Discord page with access to the stick ends project that I'm doing. I'm buying one of every single stick end that exists, and then I'm putting them into a kit, and I'm gonna send that out to patrons. More details over on the Discord channel. The name of the Discord channel is Dickens because I'm a child, and I've explained the whole setup in there. There's a Facebook group. There's all kinds of stuff. You're gonna love it, and you'll be supporting the gangliest of gangly ganglies to keep on going. There's also a Fiverr page, an Etsy page, all kinds of good shit happening, a ton of affiliate links. The more often you hit CiottiFPV.com, the better your life will be. If you go to my website once a day, you'll become the best person in the world. That was kind of weak, let's be honest. We're gonna do Mailbag today. I've got a box from GetFPV that I haven't even opened. This rig got flown and beat up. I'm gonna show you guys sort of my post freestyle bashing session, just like once over that I give to a rig. Maybe we can start putting a Vista into the Rocinante. Maybe, we'll see. That's probably about it. Q&A. This is also a Q&A live stream, so fill that chat up with questions, and we'll talk through them. In the chat, Grizz FPV was first, Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper was next, Chopper FPV, Jackalope, Family Guy Spander, Robin Duckett, CMYK, Richard Northern Tier, Frank Nicholas, Dan636, Chomper FPV, Zanakis of FPV Exchange, the greatest website to sell your FPV stuff. If you're not using FPV Exchange, you've lost your goddamn mind. Richard, KD2RDH, Larry, Charles Marseille, Robin Duckett again, King Turkey, Family Guyver, T-Bird. If you want the Gangly Man to say hey, not say hey, say your name, you got to get in the chat early and you got to say hello. If you want to talk directly to me in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. Got to spell it right. If you do it correctly, it'll show up in orange, and I'll know you're talking to me. Apache Smoke Wounded Cypher says, "Good evening. My brain broken." This is going to be an interesting live stream. I'm shot from yesterday, man. I really am burned, and I slept a good amount last night. But yeah, my brain was in full tilt mode all day yesterday. And then my body was too. Like, that's the other thing about weddings is, like, you're moving around, moving. And, like, I have all this photography and gaffer experience. So I'm, like, a really valuable person to have at a wedding because I know how to move lights around. I know where lights should and shouldn't be. If I'm being a voice-activated light stand, holding a light, I know how to do, like, very specific things like feathering a light a little bit. Like if you have a big wide group, this is the easiest example. If you have a big wide group of people, like 15 people, right, at a wedding that you want to get into one image, and you've got 2 light stands up here, you don't want to just bomb those lights at the center. You want to what's called feathering them. The strobes are strongest in the middle, and then they get weaker towards the outsides. So what you want to do with those lights is feather them. You actually point them at the opposite side of the group, because light also falls off over distance, the inverse square law. So your light source is going to be the weakest at the end of that group, so that's where you want to put the hot spot, and then the rest of it will feather off on the other group, and you'll get a nice even lighting across the entire group. Stuff like that I know about, right? Just because I was into photography for many years. And then, yeah, I don't know. I just, like, it's funny. I was talking to one of the assistant camera operators there, and I was like, hey, how's the FPV guy that this photographer normally uses? And he was like, he's all right, I guess. He's on his phone the whole time. Like, he's just waits to, for somebody to say drone. And what's funny is I'm the complete opposite of that. Like, when I'm on a gig, I'm there to work, right? Like, I don't just want to be in the corner on my phone. Like, that's just not my deal. Like, I'm there to get work done, and there's lots and lots of work to get done. So I'm always, like, looking around for stuff that I can help out with, making sure I'm not in the background of shots, which was really challenging yesterday because Bravo's team had four big-ass cinema-level cameras, and Video Village with 2 directors. Everybody was on comms. It was really impressive to see that high level of a camera team work. That was really a joy to kind of get to see that. Just because I'm a nerd with that kind of stuff. Like, I've always loved that. I got that when I was in college. I went to college for TV radio. So I got that experience back then, and then when I decided I didn't want that to be my career, that was it. I didn't really get to do that professionally. And now, like, I get to see it a little bit more, as I'm flying FPV, at gigs that continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, that was pretty rad. That was kind of the highlight, was to get to see that team. And I mean, this is a team for Bravo. Like, they go around the country. Like, they've worked together a lot. They have an amazing shorthand. They're all locked in. Yeah, I love that shit, man. I love, I mean, in a more broad sense, I love people that are really, really, really good at shit. Like, that's just a constant with me. Like, and I've always loved that. Like, I've always loved, and everybody does, I guess, to some extent, right? Like, it's just cool to see what human beings can kind of do, when we've got a whole bunch of repetition and a love of, like, a thing. Every once in a while, I'm going to do this because I'm putting another file into Real Steady Go. Or there it goes. I was about to freak out. So yeah, just bear with me. Oh no, that's pretty. This wedding, this had to be $100,000 wedding. Had to. My guess would be it was closer to double that. This was wild. The hotel it was at was Alfred. So the Bravo show is Family Karma, Karma, and it's about Indian families. And the photographer and his wife, they're both photographers. Their company exclusively does very high-end Indian weddings, and god damn are they good. Whew. They're legit. And the couple getting married, the gay couple getting married, one of them is like a super American, just like, super cisgender white boy, and the other one is a Indian fella, and just the coolest people ever. And oddly enough, Bravo was following them too. It was this weird, like, combination of I think on the same show too. So, like, yeah, it was a lot. It was a really cool experience. It was a really, really, really cool experience. I really don't care that, like, I worked, in terms of, like, how hard I worked, like, I worked harder than I ever have before on an FPV gig. And I made the minimum that I've basically ever made. Like, I made my starting rate to go out for an hour, but instead I worked for 13 hours. But that's fine. That's totally fine. It's, again, I don't back off from hard work as long as I like what I'm doing. That's the important bit. Like, when I was in corporate world as a project manager in sales, I didn't really like what I was doing. So when I was asked to work longer hours and harder for no extra money, I'd get really pissed. I'm sure a lot of you know exactly what I mean, and have potentially even had that experience. But yeah, when I'm doing something that I enjoy, the opportunity to work harder, the way that I think about it is it's an opportunity to, like, get better and improve, right? Because you don't improve unless you work hard. So yeah, that's my ultra healthy way of looking at it, I guess. Getting another sync point set here, and then I'm gonna hit save video on real steady go, let it do its thing. Come on. Okay, good. So yeah, let me get caught up on chat because I'm super behind and getting more behind by the second. Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper says, tagged me and says, good evening. I'm ready for another best live stream
in the world.
Robin Duckett says, hey, much love. CMYK says, Sunday Fun Day. How you doing, man? I'm beat, brother, but a good beat. Frank Nicholas and Zanakis dropping the link to CiottiFPV.com. Thank you, fellas. T-Bird says, what's up? Beautiful. I guess you can have my kid now. I made a funny over on Joshua's live stream. 661FPV says, did she catch the flowers? They didn't. Well, I didn't see if they threw a bouquet. Probably not, because it was two men. But I wasn't there for the whole time. I was upstairs charging batteries for a little bit, so I missed the majority of the ceremony. So, like, here's the other problem with FPV at a wedding, is it's loud as hell. So you can't fly at the ceremony, you can't fly during any of the speeches. Like, you can only really fly when there's music blasting, which is fine. Like, you can get some pretty amazing stuff at receptions. But it's different. It's interesting. Zanaka says, can we set up your CiottiFPV.com to be an HTTPS one of these days? I would love that. I don't know any internet things, and I'm stuck on GoDaddy. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to do things. Dima says, hey, CiottiFPV, how's it going? CMYK dropping the link to CiottiFPV.com. Thank you, dude. Robin Duckett says, it puts the lotion on its skin, or it gets the hose again. I got the hose. I got your hose right here. Family Giver says, oh, CiottiFPV is still not married then, lol. Nope, not yet. Fintan says, CiottiFPV or anyone else that's a good... what's a good cheap PSU? That can deliver about 70 watts and will save money with the normal hooded D6 rather than buying the D6 Duo, pre-made and ready to use. There's a bunch on Amazon, Fintan. Amazon is the hot spot for power supplies, for chargers. I got mine for like $40. Actually, here's even easier than that. Head on over to fpvknowitall.com, and Joshua has a section of his website with chargers and power supplies. Done. It's going to be an Amazon link, but it's going to be a good power supply. And he talks about 12 volt versus 24 volt, I think. You want 24. Bigger numbers are always better, but in this case they are. Athix says, live stream Discord. Robin Duck says, my first gig went terribly and all the actors kept staring at the drone, but we still got some good shots, never give up. Yeah, that's a really good point, Robin. I think I've mentioned this before, but on set, I always make sure that I get at least 30 seconds to do a safety meeting. I just like, when I'm talking to the producer, the director, whoever I'm working with, I always say like, hey, look, it's really important for me to have a safety meeting. You got to give me at least 30 seconds before I fly with cast and crew. Like, I really stress that. And the safety meeting is basically, hey everybody, my name's Aaron, everybody calls me Ciotti. This is the drone that I'm going to be flying. It's very safe. It's got bumpers on the outside. If I bump into you, it's not going to hurt you. What I want you to know is if it crashes and falls on the ground, just don't touch it. I will come and get it. I don't want you to get near the props that might be spinning and have the chance of getting cut. Also, ignore the drone completely. Pretend like it's not there. You're getting to see it right now. This is what it looks like. Now you don't need to look at it ever again. It's very boring. It looks like this. Cool. Have a great day. Because, yeah, you don't want them looking at it. It completely ruins the shot when the person stares at the drone and goes, So, yeah, cover that in your safety meeting. And it's a perfect chance to also say, hey, don't pick it up. Because if you bump into somebody and you disarm and you crash upside down and they go to grab it, if they grab it inside the duct and you arm it on turtle mode to flip over, you can very easily mangle the shit out of them. So, yeah, those are the two things that I really find it to be super important to cover in any gigs with other people, talent, right? I don't know. I'm tired, man. Jesus, my brain is not working well right now. We'll get through it together, though. Athix says, look at it. So let me stop the live stream, and I'll launch Discord to look at it. Usually I don't do this, but my brain's not working well, so I'll just do whatever you guys say. Looks like Athix posted a picture of a broken rig. That sucks, dude. Looks like a broken rear arm. That's the game, though. That's the game that we play. Finta says, CiottiFPV, we got that. Robin Duckett says, YouTube Premium on Android has done that for a while now. Audio only when you shut the screen off. Okay, good to know. T-Bird says, if you have Prime YouTube, you can play in the background, but free doesn't work unless open. So yeah, now it seems like the free YouTube will allow you to do that, which is good. One less thing that you need to spend $3 a month on. Although, Jesus Christ on a cracker with how aggressive YouTube is now getting playing commercials. I really hate that, like, and it's not just YouTube, but I hate that these companies have figured out that if they just keep pushing more and more commercials on us, that eventually we'll just straight up give them money. I mean, that's the wrong way to look at it, though. That's the first world way of looking at it, right? It used to be free. I want it to be free again. Right? Like, I want everything that was free once to be free forever. You know, the better way to look at it is they're giving us the chance to just give them money directly rather than watching the commercials so that the people that make the commercials can give them money. But YouTube used to be free and had no commercials, and why can't things just not change? Make America great again. Everything was better in the 70s when people died at 60 years old. Everything was better when racism was fine. Everything was better when we just marginalized half the... everything was better when we just shit all over women for no fucking reason and then wondered why they hate us. Come the fuck on. Like... Let's What do you think of that? I haven't bashed on Trump in a while. Feels good. Feels good. Robin Tuckett says, I put Vistas on my rip squeak. Flies amazing. Yeah, that's gonna save some weight versus a. Oh no, wait. What am I saying? No. Well, compared to an Insta360 Go. Yeah. So that's interesting. I don't know if I ever thought about that. A Vista, a rip squeak with a Vista will be slightly heavier than a rip squeak with a Runcam hybrid, but it'll be lighter than it'll be lighter than a rip squeak with an Insta360 Go 2 on top. So yeah, it'll fly good. It'll be very close in weight to a Runcam hybrid actually, because with a Runcam hybrid, you then also have to run a VTX. Although you might as well just run a Nano VTX, and those are like a gram. So, but yeah, man, rip squeaks at like 240, 250 grams with these new crop of motors: Toka 1505, Zing 1504, RCX 1306, Emax 1306. What a thing. What a thing, man. They really like you really get the 5-inch freestyle experience on a smaller scale. That's the key though. On a smaller scale, you have to fly it in smaller locations, and you have to fly it smaller. Like you have to literally fly smaller. Don't cover a lot. Don't try to cover a bunch of ground. Don't try to do 150-foot punch outs. Like, fly it smaller. Use the same... One of the ways to do that is to use the same rhythm and pacing that you use with a 5-inch rig. On a 5-inch rig, there's a pacing that you use with throttle. Like, when you do a power loop, it's like... and there's just like there's a timing to it. There's a timing to flying 5-inch rigs. Finta, please stop posting the same question over and over again. You can do a super chat. That's the one way that kind of guarantees. But yeah, don't post the same question over and over again, please. So yeah, if you maintain that same timing with these smaller rigs, that will naturally have you flying smaller. You tend to not do that though. You tend to take a 3-inch rig and you just sit on full throttle so that you can do that 150-foot punch out like you did with your 5-inch rig the day before or whatever. And that's just not. It just doesn't make sense, right? Like the whole point of a smaller than 5-inch rig is that it's safer and quieter and you can fly it in smaller spots. So yeah, there you go. Jackalope says, wasn't the gig yesterday? It was. Couldn't you still get the exposure you were promised as they work through the wedding film? Or were there more specific terms? The loose understanding was that I was going to get interviewed by Bravo, which didn't happen. And that's fine. It is what it is. It is what it is. I knew that there was a risk of that not happening. I am not... Unbelievably, I'm not all that comfortable in front of the camera when there's a person holding the camera. Here, in this controlled space where it's just me, I'm fine. Mainly because I'm just hanging out with you guys, really. But yeah, if they had pointed a camera at me, I would have been to some extent. Not that bad. I'm definitely better than I once was, but I don't like being on camera. I don't like someone pointing a camera at me. I especially don't like being interviewed. That's not being interviewed on camera is I don't like it, especially with like a cameraman behind the camera. It's just not my thing. But yeah, that was it is what it is. It is what it is. Jackalope says, makes me sad to hear they spent hundreds of thousands. Well, I mean, so I was being paid by the photographer. I have no idea what the photographer wasn't paid $100,000, right? Like I wasn't being paid directly by the groom and groom. So yeah, I mean the wedding might have cost $99,000, and then they spent $1,000 on the photographer. That's probably not the case, but yeah, I mean photographers hiring people, it's hard. Like photographers make a lot of money, but as soon as they bring other people on, they don't make all that much money anymore. So yeah, it's I can't fault the photographer for that. He's obviously got another FPV pilot. He's got 2 FPV pilots on staff, and those 2 are obviously willing to work for what is half of my day rate. And that's good money, especially with multiple day. He flies those guys out to do multiple days of work. So they'll make, bang, 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 multiple days in a row. Whereas for me, I do these like one and dones, which is just, a little bit of a different model. So yeah, this photographer had expected to be able to use his guy. So he had budgeted in the amount of money that his normal FPV pilot makes. He didn't force me to take the rig, right? He gave me the opportunity and I chose to take it. That's on me. I could have easily said no. And I almost did, because Maggie and I were supposed to go to Florida, and I really did want to go to Florida. But we just were in Florida, and we're doing a little weekend getaway for my birthday in a couple of weeks anyway. So it was fine. I'm glad. I'm glad this all went down the way that it went down. Nobody's at fault. Dr. Vigno said something, but immediately YouTube did the thing, scrolling back up to try to find it. God damn it. Come on, where did it go? There it is. Which motors for a 2.5-inch Cinewoop around 300 grams with a Go 2 and 650 mAh 4S battery. Currently running Zing 1504 3900s with the Gemfan 5-blade props, and I want more flight time. Thanks. So here's the problem with changing motors for more. So to change motors for more flight time, you're going to get a rig that performs worse. And you're going to get a very, 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 very small increase in flight time. In my opinion, that's not a good idea. Running that small of a battery, yeah, I don't know. To be honest, the problem is probably more with the inefficiency, the aerodynamic inefficiencies of 2.5-inch frames versus that you're running into there. So yeah, I don't know. I also don't really know any motors smaller than those 1504s. But yeah, I think I have a feeling you're going to be chasing your tail, trying to get more runtime by switching motors. I think that might get you from 3 minutes to 3 minutes and 10 seconds, or 3 minutes and 15 seconds. But it certainly doesn't sound like that's what you're looking for. I get the feeling that you're looking for 5 minutes of runtime or 6 minutes of runtime, and that's gonna come from a better aerodynamic setup, like a frame with less physical obstructions, specifically in the intake airflow. If I had to guess, you're flying a pusher frame. Pusher frames are relatively inefficient because the area that's most important, the area that you want to keep free of obstructions, is the area above the propeller. You've got all this air, and it's just hanging out. It's not moving around. Well, now your propeller starts spinning, so it's grabbing the air that's above it. So this is where all the work is being done. All of the actual work is being done above the propeller because the air was just static, and now we're pulling it down. And the rig is actually pulling itself up into the air. It's not pushing itself up into the air. When the only time that the rig is really pushing is when you're really close to the ground and it gets into ground effect and starts moving all around. Because it's got something to push into, right? Pushes into the air, the thrust comes down, it hits the ground, and it gets turbulent, and some of it kind of goes back up. But that's not where the majority of the work is done. The majority of the work is done above the propeller. So a pusher frame has all this shit in the way above the propeller where it's trying to get all this work done. And that just kills efficiency. So a puller design like this tends to be more efficient. The trade-off is that a puller rig is harder to get ducts out of view. Typically, the propellers can't be as big. Like when you build a pusher, you can sometimes run a bigger propeller for the same footprint. So it's not. There are definite benefits and detriments to each one. And it's which one that you run is very dependent upon your specific wants and needs. The other problem, the other difference is that because of that aerodynamic inefficiency, pusher rigs are very loud. So you guys got to see me, if you've been around long enough, build the pusher version of this 85. And there were some things that I really liked about it, but the one big thing that I didn't like about it is how loud it was. The whole point for me building these is to be able to fly them kind of like incognito. So I'm gonna push forward with this build of the puller, even though that pusher build took like 12 hours or something. Like, it was one of the most difficult builds I've ever done. I was really sad to see it go. I did a giveaway for it. But it went to somebody who's going to be flying it outside. And I thought that it would be, from that standpoint, from the noise standpoint, I thought it would be kind of a perfect fit for this person. Plus, there were better motors on it. This is a completely stock beta FPV build, so I have to completely rebuild this thing. That other rig was full tilt build. Like, everything, all the parts on there were like top notch, so I felt better about sending that out. It felt a little weird for me to send out like a completely beta FPV rig that I hadn't like touched at all. You know what I mean? Among other things, but so yeah, Dr. Vigno, I think that I think that that changing motors is gonna net you like a 2 or 3% gain, whereas re-examining the frame, a bigger battery. GNB has a 700 mAh battery that I think is lighter than the 650, and it's got an extra 50 mAh. Did you say you're on 5-blade props? The other thing you can do is move down to a 3-blade prop. It's going to be a lot louder, but you're going to get a significant bump in improvement in efficiency from it. So, yeah, I don't feel like motors are going to be the best approach to getting what you're looking to get. I hope that all makes sense. Great question though, and that's a really great discussion. It's all about this balance, man. This is one of the coolest things about FPV from an engineering standpoint, in my opinion, is there's this really interesting balance between frame design, powertrain design, batteries, flight performance, safety. It's really cool. It's really, really, really fun. Robin Duckett says, my kind of liberal loony lefty. Espander says, so how's your DJI journey so far? Not great, if I'm honest. I'm still completely blown away at how awful the OSD is. And I'm probably like 30 or 40 batteries into it, and I'm not getting any more comfortable with it. Like, I don't feel like I'm flying the quad. I don't feel like I'm in the quad. I feel like I'm flying the quad. Analog, it feels like I'm inside the quad, and that's really important. It's really important to feel like you're in there, to be able to like really lock in and do gnarly shit. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep putting batteries into it, and hopefully once I've flown enough batteries on it, I'll connect a little bit better with it. But at the moment, after 30, 40, 50 batteries, it's great to be able to see where you're going, but this lack of confidence and the lack of a readable OSD really sucks a big old bag of dicks. But we'll see. It's maybe I just need to fly 500 batteries through it to really get comfortable on it. I don't know. You know, I've flown, I don't know, 10,000 batteries on analog, so my brain is pretty wired for the way that analog feels and flies, and the way that OSD is readable and shit like that. So yeah, Yarb says my Naked Vista 3-inch ripsqueak is 135 grams dry with an Insta 360 Go 2 mount. Very cool, Yarbs. That seems pretty light too. I'm considering doing a similar build. Naked Vista ripsqueak. I'm considering it. We'll see. We'll see. Ramdago says the good old days rant. Yeah, I've been a lot less ranty lately. Proud of myself. YouTube did the thing again. Captain says Titan screws on 3-inch 1304/1306 motor mounting and or T-mount. Stupid idea. Oh, titanium, I think. I think Captain meant to say titanium screws on a 3-inch. No, not a stupid idea. In my opinion, titanium screws are perfect for 3-inch rigs. 5-inch rigs have enough energy behind them where titanium screws will break. Specifically, if you put them on the outside, if you put them on the arms. Titanium screws on any of the arm screws on 5-inch rigs is not a good idea. Stack mounting, good to go. Top of the top plate seems to be okay as well. Not in the front though. In the front you want stainless steel. So there's certain locations, even on 5-inch rigs, that you can run titanium screws. In my experience on the 3-inch rigs, they don't break titanium screws. So yeah, as long as you're M3. If for an M2 screw, no way. For an M2 screw, an M2 frame screw, no way on titanium. Got to be stainless steel. GrizzFPV says, I sent you a pic of an issue I just found with the Toka 1505s. That's interesting. I'm game. I love those Toka 1505 motors, which is why I'm extra interested in this. What do you have them on, Grizz? He says, 2 Toka 1505s with slipping shafts. God damn it. This slipping shaft shit is really, really frustrating. It's happening because our motors are becoming more powerful, and we're reaching the limit of what T-mount can handle. Yeah, look at that. So on the Toka 1505s, the motor shaft is pretty short, but now it's non-existent. So that sucks, man. Has that motor been? Have those two motors been banged up, Grizz? Or is that just... Jesus, I'm exhausted. My God. Or is that just from being flown a bunch? I couldn't... for some reason, I looked over here thinking the camera was over here. Oh, hey. Oh, it's still rendering. Wow, look at that. God damn it. When did you buy those, too, Grizz? When did you buy those motors? Patrick and I bought our Toka 1505s like 6+ months ago. I wonder if they're doing this shit where the first run of their product is really good, and then their second and third and fourth runs are horrible because they've already like sucked you in to their good motors, and then you go to buy more and they suck. But you've already got 3 of their motors, so you'll typically continue to buy their motors because you don't want to just throw away that, you know, those 3 motors. I hope to hell that these manufacturers aren't doing that on purpose. I really do, because that would be really evil, and I always like to think that people are not that evil, you know. NeoFlow FPV says, I'm having issues with my rapid fire module running HDO. Any idea when the new HD0 VRX is releasing? Looking for a budget digital upgrade. Absolutely no idea, NeoFlow. I don't really pay much attention to HD0 until they have a VTX that either makes more than 200 milliwatts and is lightweight, or their current VTXs are either not powerful enough and light, or powerful enough and stupidly heavy and huge. So until they have a VTX that's somewhere in between those, like 500 milliwatts and lightweight, let's say, I just don't pay attention to their stuff. So unfortunately, I'm not the guy that can answer that question for you. But the rapid fire module is pretty well known to be almost completely bulletproof, as are Fat Sharks. So I feel like with a couple of Google searches and or YouTube searches, you can figure out what's going on with your rapid fire and or get it repaired. So I would do that, because in my opinion, HD0 is just not ready. Trying to fit that 1 watt module into stuff is going to be a nightmare, and then it's heavy as hell, so you're going to have this big chunk in there. And then yeah, their smaller VTXs only being 200 milliwatts is just not enough. So yeah, that's sort of my opinion on the subject. Ram Douglas says, the good old days when tap water came through lead pipes, post was delivered by a horse, and you had to get up to change the TV channel. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Zanaka says, wasn't there a GitHub for DJI OSD? Let's see what this GitHub link is. MSP. Well, yeah, I mean there is OSD, but it sucks. It's just the font is shitty and it's tiny, and it just sucks. The DJI OSD just blows goats. I have proof. Robin Duckett says, the WTF FPV guys are working on making the Betaflight OSD work on jailbroken DJI goggles. Now we're talking. I guess those are the guys that did the root mod, the root hack, whatever the hell it's called. Veritas Weasel says, what's the longest and most reliable radio receiver and protocol for flight control and video? There's only one for flight control and video, and that's DJI. So that's an easy question, Veritas. And it's pretty good. It's pretty damn good. Patrick actually flies it, and he really, really, really digs it. So, yeah. There's only one option there. So, easy one. Steady Eddie says, finished my first gig last weekend at Yoga Aerial Studio. Nice. Edit done and up in the Video Collective. 85X build with Insta360 Go 2 and HD0. Perfect tool for indoor proximity. Yeah, that's a really nice little setup. Insta360 Go is perfect for Yoga Studio, Aerial Studio kind of stuff. Yeah, that's dope. That's a cool little setup, Steady Eddie. The Video Collective is a text channel over on my Discord available to patrons. So for $3 whole a month, you can help me continue to live stream and eat and someday get health insurance, and get access to Steady Eddie's probably awesome Yoga Aerial Studio video. That's a really cool subject to fly and film. So I'm sure that that's dope. 661 says, you know stainless steel is softer than steel, right? I don't actually think that I knew that. But when I say, I just, yeah, if I said stainless steel, I didn't mean to. I just meant like steel. Steel versus titanium versus aluminum. I don't even know if we can get stainless steel hardware. Can we? I feel like all of our hardware is just regular steel. I've never really paid much attention. But anytime you run... I mean, but so in the same conversation, we should mention that steel is softer than titanium, but titanium will snap when steel will bend, and in a frame, it's better to have hardware that's going to bend a little bit than snap. So, yeah, that's why I was mentioning steel versus titanium. And if I said stainless steel, I apologize. I did not mean that. I meant just regular old steel. Because I'm assuming that, I don't know this for a fact. I've never really thought about it. But I'm assuming that our hardware is not stainless steel. Because we just don't need that. We you know, it's not. Yeah, I know that it's not stainless steel. Because good God, does our hardware rust. Yeah, so... McConnell Studios is in the house. He says, just replaced Toka 1505 and appears the wire gauge was a lot smaller. Why do they make changes to things in the middle of runs? Why do they do this to us? Stop making changes to your products in the middle of the run. GrizzFPV says, I've only crashed a few times and I got them in November. I have broken the bottom plate and replaced. They still fly. Just noticed today. Interesting. Talking about the Toka 1505s with slip shafts. Hectectica? Well, that's hard to pronounce. Hectectica with a $5 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, agreed to shoot a friend's car, just driving, not drifting, with my drones. Tips, tricks, shots that look cool / don't. Any help is appreciated. Best thing that you're gonna do is look up other people's videos where they've done it and figure out kind of for yourself what you like the look of and what you don't like the look of. At the same time as, I mean, technically speaking, you would want your friend to do that, right? Like, since you're making this, well, maybe I don't. So you said agreed to shoot a friend's car. You say agreed, so that makes me think that your friend asked you to do it, which means that you're working for them, which means that whatever they think looks cool is what you want to do, right? This is one of the things about. This is one of the differences between art for the sake of art versus art for money. Art for money introduces someone else's artistic vision. The person that's paying you, or the person that's asking. I don't know if he's paying you, but yeah, if somebody asks you to make art for them, their vision, their wants, their needs are included, right? So, technically speaking, you would want to tell your friend, hey, look up a bunch of videos on YouTube with FPV chasing cars and figure out which shots you like the best and tell me, and I'll do those shots for you, right? If the project is specifically for you and your portfolio, then you get to do that exercise. What else? Tips and tricks. So that covers like shots that look cool / don't. It's a very subjective thing. There are some very stereotypical FPV chasing car shots that everybody does, myself included, that I think look horrible. One of the reasons that I think that they look horrible is that I've seen them thousands of times from every single FPV chasing cars edit for the last 3 years that we've really been doing that. Someone who hasn't seen, a drone do the orbit around a car for the 7,000th time will think that looks cool. So all of this to say, you can sum that all up with 3 words: know your audience. That is a big concept in photography as well. That's where I learned about that. You're making art for your audience, and that limits your creative control, but welcome to Earth. You know what I mean? Tips, tricks, trust your gut. And what I mean by that is for example, a pilot that's 6 months in the game chasing a car from like 50 feet away, they're going to start to get nervous and be like, oh God, I feel out of control. This feels sketchy. You got to trust that. You got to push a little bit past it and maybe go from 50 feet to 40 feet, but absolutely don't go, oh, I'll be fine, and get 5 feet away. Like your gut kind of knows your skill level, and it ain't gonna lie to you. So you got to trust your nerves, and like it doesn't sound like you're making a grand to do this, so this person's gonna get what they get, and that's it. Nice and simple. If they don't like it, well, should have paid me more, or should have hired somebody that's done it before, or whatever, right? So definitely trust your gut, because it is absolutely not worth it to crash into his car and to do a couple $100 worth of damage, or a couple grand in damage if you get all the way through the paint and the car needs to be repainted because it's some fancy custom paint or some shit like that, right? So yeah, there's a big one. That's a really, really, really big one. What else? Keep in mind that there's a big column. If it's rolling shots, there's a big column of turbulent air behind the car. Don't blame your tune for that. Like if you're flying around, everything's all smooth, and you drop in behind the car and you're bouncing all over the place, don't land and crank your P and D gains up. It just is what it is. Use it as a device. Use that motion as an editing choice almost to convey excitement. Like when the camera is butter smooth and moving around, it's very serene and very calm and very expected. When the camera starts jumping around from the turbulence behind the car, there's an anxiety to it, and there's an energy to it. So that's something that you can use. Like if you're then gonna take this footage and edit it to a song, when the song kicks in and gets super excited, that's a great time for that shot where you're back in the turbulence getting bounced around. That'll slot in really nice to the music there. So there's a bunch for you. Those are the things that I can think of off the top of my head. Thank you again for the super chat, my man. Xenakis says, yes, that GitHub is the repo, is the code for the rooted goggles for MSP OSD. Is this something brand new, Nevin? Is there a brand new OSD for DJI? My God, am I out of the loop? Jesus Christ! All right, so I guess I'm gonna have to get on there. It sounds like there's a new better version of the OSD. That's exciting. Damn. Freelojo says, I run stainless steel and don't recommend it. Bends too easy and crashes. Personal experience. Well, there you go. I always buy black hardware. Which I've never seen black stainless steel that's this powder coated matte black. So I've never really thought about it. Whenever I get polished stainless steel looking hardware, I get rid of it. So yeah, that's probably why I've never really thought about it, because I've always bought 12.9 black steel hardware. Steady Eddie with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, when you shoot for money, do you typically do any time of contract? What's that mean? license to use the final product as it without re-editing. I think what you're asking is like, do I put anything in the contract about like the rights, the usage rights, I think is what it's called. I do not. I fly, turn it over to the editor, and you can do whatever the hell you want with it. I probably shouldn't. I should probably have. I should probably get a lawyer, and yeah, get something written up that's a little bit better. But I'm still pretty new to the game, and quite honestly, I can't afford that. So, it's. I certainly don't sign anything. Although I might need this. I might need to sign something from the gig yesterday, to fully release the footage, which is whatever. But yeah, up until this point, I have not signed anything that says that I can't use the footage for anything. So it's still mine. You know, I can use it in my portfolio and whatnot, which is the big thing that matters to me. But yeah, I probably should hire a lawyer and have a contract that basically has some sort of language surrounding, like, you can use this for the project that you're using it for, but then you can't sell it or anything weird like that. But I feel like copyright laws kind of cover that. I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. It's fine. That's a good question, though. So, yeah, it's something to think about for sure. Mudderson says, when you get into that turbulent air, remember to shout buffeting like James May. Nice. Zanakis says, yes. Damn, okay. New OSD for DJI. I'll be goddamned. That link looked like utter gibberish to me, unfortunately. So I might have to wait until I can't. GitHub and I we're not friends. As soon as something is on GitHub, I just like. No. You know, I do one of those. I don't know. I'm not good at computers. I'm not good at computers anymore. I used to be good at computers when they were not this confusing. But now, like, computers just make me anxious and, like, they make me miserable. And I just don't like it. I don't like it. I got lots of other stuff going on. I don't have time to, like, keep relearning computers. It's too much. It doesn't connect with my brain like it used to. I just don't. It's just, I don't know. I don't like it. Jay Drone says, hey dude, how's it going? I'm tired. Freelojo says, black is high tensile strength, doesn't bend so easily, aka high carbon steel, I believe. Interesting. Hey, what's the difference between 10.9 and 12.9? Anybody know? I'm sure I could just go to YouTube. Not YouTube, Google. Let's see. 0.9 versus 12.9. Hey! Fuck off. Oh, wow. Quora. Just getting... Wait, maybe it tells me right here. Oh, it's tensile strength. Ah, cool. 12.9... I'm assuming that 12.9 is better. Higher numbers are always better, friends. When in doubt, higher numbers are better. Where are we at here? Here we go. Steady Eddie says, God, big thumbs on my phone. Yeah, what if you do the edit and use music licensed to you? That's my kind of question. My wife was asking Legal Mind. Wait, what? What if you do the edit and use music licensed to you? Steady Eddie, I think the confusion here might be that I don't do any of the editing. I'm not a very good editor. So one of the things, one of like the sort of requirements, not really requirements, when I get contacted about flying, I ask them, do you have an editor? And 9 times out of 10 they do. The 1 time out of 10 that they don't, I explain to them that I'm an FPV pilot. I can edit. You can see my YouTube channel for lots of examples of my editing, but that's not the main thing that I do. So you can probably find an editor that's going to be cheaper than me and better than me. And that's usually enough for them to say, oh, okay, cool, I'll do that. And then that's it. And then I get at it editing it. Because I don't like editing. I'm not that good at it. I'm not that fast at it. And so, yeah, it benefits them for me to explain that to them. You know what I'm saying? So I do. And it usually goes totally well. Not usually, always. I've never done like a professional edit for somebody. So yeah, I think that if I still haven't answered your question, Steady Eddie, unfortunately you got to ask it one more time, and use small words. I is dumb. Today I'm dumb. Most days I'm average to maybe a little bit smart. But today I'm just brain dead. Yesterday was a lot, man. Yesterday was a lot. Robin Douglas says, put a vid in general nonsense in Discord for you, DJIOSD. Is it hard to do? You guys think it'll get easier? If it's gonna get easier, I'll just wait. It's anything that's like version 0.1, like this certainly seems to be, just by the fact that the root hack only came out a week ago. I'm not super into it. I would much rather just wait a little bit. But if it's easy, I guess I'll dive into it and be the guinea pig and hopefully not kill anyone when it fails because it's version 0.1. Slide by says, what motor would you use for a 2S toothpick and what would you use for a 4S toothpick? I'm thinking 2.5 inch, but open to a bigger prop. Slide by, I'm not really the guy to ask toothpick questions. The last time I had a working toothpick was about 4.5 years ago, and the tech has moved on quite a bit. So yeah, I'm just not the toothpick guy. Check out Quad66, QUAD66, here on YouTube. He's the guy. He's who you want to listen to. He actually put a video out today that's really, really good. If you guys are interested in filter, specifically how to filter toothpick rigs. He's doing great work. It's a great channel. You want to be subscribed to Quad66. Tell him I sent you. I literally have no idea, man. I hate that I don't know. My guess is going to be that you want a 1204. 1204 seems to be the right motor size, or 1303. But then it depends. It depends if it's a that's typically with a 3-inch toothpick. With 2.5 inch, you could probably go a little bit smaller than that. KV, I have absolutely no idea. I have no clue on KV. I just don't know. I guess the only other thing I can add here is 4S is probably not a good choice for a toothpick. The AIOs don't like a lot of voltage, and that's going to be a very heavy toothpick, which is completely outside of the point. The only reason to build a toothpick is to keep it light. If you're going to put 4S on a toothpick, it's like putting a jet engine on a Miata. It's just stupid. There's just no reason to do it. You're going to end up with something that's super fragile, that can barely deal with the weight or the power, and that sucks. You're going to have a bad experience with that rig. A toothpick on 4S is a rig that every time you crash it, it's going to blow up. And pretty quickly, that's going to get old, and then you're going to put it on the shelf, and that's going to be it. And it's just going to sit there on the shelf, and it's never going to get flown. And that's a complete waste of money. So, yeah, 4S on a toothpick is not a good idea. You're going to cook AIOs. It's not going to crash well. It's just going to be it's going to be like a cursed rig that I can almost guarantee you after a month or two just doesn't get flown. And I try to avoid that at all costs. Xenakis says, Discord link shows a video of it working. I wish it would pan out to show the goggles, though. I feel like, man, if they're already figuring this out like a week after the root hack, a couple months from now, it'll be locked in. So that's pretty awesome. My God, I can't believe that they dug in that quick and figured it out. That's wild. Yeah, I mean, in that case, I'll definitely give it a month and see where it is in a month because it's only going to get exponentially better. You know what I mean? Look at that! I'm caught up on chat. It's 4:15. Oh my God, my fucking back hurts. Oh shit! Oh. Hey! Guess what time it is? I stole that from Mighty Car Mods. Go subscribe to their channel. They're great. You're gonna love them. You're gonna love them. You're gonna love it. Grievo with a $10 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, Impulse bought RCN Power 2105 plus 1850 kV motors. You should have bought mine, man. Although I think I have a message from someone. I do. I replied back to it. For a 5-inch build, they are a 12x12 mounting. Will these motors have enough lift on something like a 6S Cinesplorer build? Did I just order this? It's pretty unlike me. Yes. Yeah, I mean, those will have... So I run 2004 on my Cinesplores. So absolutely, the motors will have enough stator volume for sure. The KV, let me see. Let me do the math on the KV. I think this is maybe part of my order that was not in stock or something like that. Must have been. Yeah, this must have been. I never just order one thing. This is another... this is my preferred QX7 transmitter battery. I've at this point, I've bought one of each of these batteries that fits in the QX7, and this is my favorite. So it's lithium ion. It's 4,000 mAh, which is more mAh than the others, and yeah. I don't know if I realized that it was lithium ion until just now. Does that mean I have to change the setting on my charger for this? If so, I'm annoyed. So I got a couple of so GNB makes a QX7 battery that's 3,500 mAh. That's the same form factor, but it's high volt. So every time you charge it, you got to go into your charger and you got to change from LiPo to LIHV, and that's annoying, especially when you then charge your regular batteries and forget to take it off of that, and it charges up all your regular batteries to 4.35 per cell, which is not good for them. I don't think I noticed that this is lithium ion. There's a, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look in my charger on my charger to see if there's a lithium ion setting. And if there is, I'm in the same boat where I have to change the charger settings for the battery, and that's annoying. Not the end of the world, but just annoying. You know, like each little annoying thing that you can remove makes the situation a little bit better, and it makes you a little bit less prone to making mistakes. So it's important to kind of do that to reduce the amount of moving parts, basically. Steady Eddie says, thanks, bro. Let your brain rest. I'm learning editing. It's fun, but super time intensive. Yeah. Yeah, editing is a bastard. It is. All right, let's do the math. 1850 kV. Nope. 1850 kV times 1.5. So that's, oh yeah, man, that's way too low of a kV. So that's the 4S equivalent of 2775 kV. Well, that's not way too low. So the 2004s that I run are all 3000 kV and up. So you're shy of that 3000 kV number, which I wouldn't want personally, but you might be okay with. To be honest, I would try to return them. I would try to return them and get the higher kV, get the highest kV that's available. And then you can choose to run 4S or you can run 6S. I prefer 4S on Cinesplores, Cinewhoops in general. But yeah. So that's actually what I would do. But yeah, that's going to be a little low on the kV. Just a little bit low. You really want 3000 and up for a full weight Cinesplore. I know that's not the answer that you wanted to hear, but it's the answer that you need to hear, unfortunately. That's more of a KV and motor for like a lightweight 5-inch build on big, giant, low-pitch 5-inch biblades or tri-blades, you know what I mean? Gert Jan X says, greetings from the Netherlands. Nice to meet again, man. I like your channel. Thank you, dude. Stay for a while. Make yourself at home. Grivo says, KV feels way low. Trying to figure out if I should send back or keep before I solder them. Yeah, if you solder them up, they're yours. So you got to make that decision now. Yeah, I don't know. The in my opinion, the whole point of the Cinesplore frame is not the whole point, but a big benefit of the Cinesplore frame is how lightweight it is. To then bolt 18, 19, 20 gram motors onto it kind of defeats the purpose, especially when it flies so good with 2004s. So yeah, in my opinion, I would return those and try to find a. I mean, you don't have to try to find it. There's plenty of 2004s that are like 3000 kV, and then you'll be good to go. And then you can bounce back and forth between 4S and 6S or even 5S. Seneca says, until you F up and burn your house down. Ram Dongo says, yeah, settings on charger. What's that mean, Ram? T-Bird says, why not just charge the HV on regular? Because then instead of it being 3500 mAh, it's probably closer to 3000 mAh, and it just goes dead quicker. I was actually doing that for a while. I didn't realize that they were LIHV, and I was just charging them up to regular, and I was like, man, these are going dead awful fast. What the hell's going on with this? And then I noticed it said LIHV on it, and I was like, oh man, I have 2 of these goddamn things. Espander says, you can use LiPo setting just at 1 amp. Hey, that's good news. Cool. So yeah, the gold line, AU line, 4000 mAh battery. Thumbs up from me. Grivo says, womp womp. Yeah, I know. Espander says, and you don't have to charge HV to HV voltage. We just talked about that. Grivo says, thanks for taking the time to reply. Thanks for taking no, not for taking. Thanks for being a superstar and supporting the madness. Cloud FPV says, copyright 2022, CiottiFPV all rights reserved. That will do it. Done. That's it? That's all we had to do? Oh, okay. Got it. I'll just drop that in the contract. It will be good to go. Is that actually all it takes? Is it? Alright, we did mailbag. You guys checked out my mailbag. This rig got flown and smashed and crashed. Let's check it out. Let's see if I broke anything. I'm gonna actually, let's come back here. So, oh, why am I dropping frames? Come on, YouTube, don't be a, oh wow, there's a whole bunch of dropped frames. Oh, it's back. Okay, cool. I do this little trick, like, after each crash. Like, when I pick the rig up and walk it back to the car, I'll just do this on the way back. Take it on the corners, put your hands like this, wrap your middle fingers around the tops of the motors, put your thumbs in the center, and, like, put force into it. Like really jam on it. This is going to test for broken or delaminated arms. So you do these two arms, and what you're trying to feel for is one arm flexing more than the other, right? Because the what you might be thinking is, well, like, how the hell do I know? Like, okay, yeah, this, and the other thing is every frame has a different amount of stiffness, right? But yeah, what you're looking and feeling for is one of these arms more loose, more wobbly than the other. The other thing that you can feel here, especially if you flip it upside down and do the same thing from the top, what you can feel is whether or not your arm screws are still tight. These come loose because there's so much vibrations. If these arm screws are starting to loosen up, when you do this trick, especially if you flip it upside down and do it, and then flip it back and do it, you'll feel the arms like they'll shift and they'll give because those screws aren't tight. Usually you don't have to reverse it. Usually if you pick the rig up and you go like this and you feel one of the or both of the arms go and kind of settle into place, that means your arm screws have loosened up a little bit. Then we do the other side, and we are good to go in this case. I usually don't flip it upside down like this. I'm doing this for you guys because, like I said, as long as you pay, the trick is you got to pay attention to it, right? You can't do this and then it does that little shift and you're like, oh, that was weird. Let me try again. Oh, now it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. If it does something weird, pay attention. Just in life. Like, when something does something weird, don't just be like, it's fine. The cool kids say the word "send it" all the time, so that's I'll just say those words and just recklessly fucking kill someone. It's it's fine. Send it. It's fine. Fuck everyone else but me. I don't care about anyone else's safety. I'll kill that. I killed the baby. It's all right. I sent it. It's, you know, just let the baby's mother know that, you know, I'm sorry that your kid's dead, but I was sending it, bro. I'm super cool because I use the word "send it" 7,000 times a day. Sorry, Mom. You know, 10 months of labor. Labor actually takes 10 months. And I just took it all away because I was sending it. Send it. Can we fucking stop saying "send it"? Jesus Christ on a crutch. It wasn't cool the first time I heard it. It's certainly not cool now. I get once I've heard like a cool saying or whatever word more than like, I don't know, 10 times, I'm out. I'm like, yo, it's not fucking cool anymore. It's not cool at all. But that's just me. There's that horse getting really upset by the Cinewhoop. Hey, by the way, guys, don't fly Cinewhoops around horses. They don't like them. They do not like them at all. Not one little bit. I was wondering, but they said, no, it'll be fine. I was like, oh, okay. I kept my distance, but man, that horse did not dig the Cinewhoop. Didn't like it. There were horses at this wedding, guys. The two grooms rode the horses. Downtown Alpharetta. Horses in the streets. Crazy. I'm setting another file on Real Steady Go. Espander says, what shall we say? I don't know. Say whatever you want. Ram Douglas says, full power, the fastest machine ever. Yeah, I don't know. It's just me being old. This is me being an old man. What were we talking about? Seneca says horses are twitchy as fuck, tweaked out more than a meth head. Yeah, this horse was freaked out. He was not having it. He was not happy that there was FPV at the party. Wasn't happy. Okay, so that's the first thing that I do. Next, you're going to do the same sort of thing, but you're going to twist the motors. And twisting the motors, so this test mainly looks for broken arms, like you've broken a couple of the layers. The twisting test really finds delaminated arms. And it's the same kind of deal. You're just feeling for one arm to twist more than the other. And like if they're delaminated, you'll know it. Like it's very obvious. It's like, okay, yeah, there's one. In this case, no, we're good. Stupid O-rings. So now you know whether or not your arms are healthy, which is great to know. The next thing, if you want, because these arm bolts do loosen up pretty often, throw a driver on them and check them. I just cranked these all down, so I'm good to go. I'm gonna skip that step. Next, if you banged up any of the motors, pull the props off and go into the motors tool. I didn't slam this thing hard enough to really do this, but I'm gonna do this for you guys. Also, I want to change these propellers out. So if you're gonna change your propellers out, you might as well do this because it doesn't take long. And it's just a really good thing to do. Like, this is just a really good exercise to keep an eye on the health of your motors. But yeah, like I said, in my case, I bang these propellers up pretty good. So I'm going to take all four of them off and just throw them away. Ram Tango says the horse didn't get the safety chat. Espander says, tell us. What am I telling you? Oh, what to say? I don't know. Just use words. Just use normal words. Don't use cool kid words. I don't know. Mike Ridson says, I got contacted by someone who does horse stuff to fly around them and acclimate them to the sound. Oh, that's interesting. Hasn't happened yet, but might be interesting if everyone is prepared for it. Huh. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, that's the way to do it, is make them go through it. You know, they'll get used to it. Maybe. Maybe not. Interesting. I wonder if they will. I wonder if they'll get used to it, or if they're... I wonder if... Basically, I wonder if horses are as stubborn as humans. Because if they're as stubborn as humans, they won't get used to it. And they'll just hate it forever. Just like us. We fear change. This grip is being a real jerk-off. So I'm gonna peel it off and see if I can re-stick it. Hey, that went well. put it right there. Okay, so you've got your propellers off now. You might as well leave the prop nuts off too. You've got your naked motors. And now you're gonna kiss them, and you're gonna engage in some heavy petting, and maybe those naked motors will let you fly them. Never skip the kissing and heavy petting. Petting, boys. Never skip it. Never, ever. First step, jack up your car. Fire up Betaflight. First step, fire up Betaflight. You're going to come into the Motors tab. You're going to click I understand the risks because the motors are off. You're going to take your free hand and you're going to pick the quad up off the table a little bit, or at least just touch it so that you can feel the vibrations. That's what she said. You're going to ramp them. Here, let me actually zoom this in for you guys a little bit. All right. And I'm going to show you where all the vibes happen. All right. Right around here. And you'll feel it. All right. And what you're feeling for is how vibey is motor 1. Now you're going to go to motor 2. And you're going to feel how vibey motor 2 is. Is it more vibey or less vibey? Then you're going to go to motor 3. Is it more vibey or is it less vibey? And then you're going to go to motor 4. Is motor 4 more vibey or less vibey? In this case, motor 3 was very slightly less vibey than the rest, but only by a little bit. And that's kind of all that we care about to some extent. Like, you're gonna I can't explain to you how much vibration is too much vibration. It just doesn't, language just doesn't work like that. So you need to do that little test over and over and over again. And eventually you're gonna get a feel. The big thing to do is you do that test with fresh motors. So you do a fresh build and then you do that test, and now you have your baseline. This is the cleanest that these motors are, that quad motors can ever be. But realistically, you just want to do that test over and over and over again with different rigs, before crashes, after crashes, fresh rigs, beat up rigs. That's how you're going to build up your internal sort of barometer for how much vibration is too much vibration versus not too much. So yeah, if all 4 motors are roughly the same amount of vibiness, you should be good, unless you have just battered the shit out of that rig, and there is a chance that if all 4 motors are super vibey, that you need to change all 4 motor bells. Typically not. Typically your front motors will get more beat up because we fly forwards and crash into stuff forwards, so the front motors take a lot more abuse. But not always. So yeah, that's sort of the philosophy there. If the motors are that beat up, you probably already know it. You're going to have filtering issues, you're going to have hot motors, stuff like that. But yeah, if you start doing that test over and over and over again, it'll start to kind of make sense, and you'll have a feel for each one of your rigs and what it can kind of handle. And it's also going to kind of clue you into like what you need to do. So like, you know, all 4 of these motors they ain't clean. These motors have been crashed a good amount, so I can actually come in here and like make sure that my tune is not too aggressive. Those PIDs are not. This filtering here is not bad. This is still on 4.2. Yeah, it is. This is still on 4.2. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, this is pretty. I can close this down a little bit. This filtering is pretty clean. Not clean. This filtering is pretty generous. This is not like a razor's edge filtering setup here. So this should be totally fine. This should be plenty of filtering to handle the amount of vibration that I'm feeling in those motors, which is good. And, you know, coming in here and taking a quick look, it's a nice little reminder. Maybe, you know, while you're in here, hover over one of these tooltips and see if there's any good information. There's a big chunk of good information, right? These tooltips are really, really, really nice. You're probably not going to understand these tooltips the first time that you read them, but the 5th time that you read them, it's going to make a hell of a lot more sense than the first time. So read these tooltips. If you ever have an extra second, hover over these tooltips and just read them. And the more you read them, the more sense they'll make. And eventually you'll actually understand how to tune these goddamn things. Let's take a quick look at the rest of this shit. Nothing really groundbreaking going on here. Sometimes also, like, you know, as you learn more and more about tuning, and you'll have a rig that you haven't had in here for a while, and you'll notice, like, you know, I'm playing around with this high feed forward, but I don't really know if I like it. So I'll try it lower, or I'll try it even higher, or whatever. It's just, you know, good little opportunity. Check some things out. That, my friends, is how I... those are the 2 big ways that I kind of check out a rig after a freestyle session where I've crashed it a bunch. Also, a visual inspection is always really good to do. If you really want to go for it, grab yourself a toothbrush and some isopropyl alcohol and clean a little bit of it. The cleaner the rig is, the easier it is to see damaged carbon or a wire that's about to get sliced all the way through, stuff like that. So yeah, like this, I did a little bit of cleaning last time on this rig, but right next to the flight controller there's a little area that could use a little bit of scrubbing bubbles. So I will lead by example here and just use some ISO to just kind of get a little scrub here, clean up some of the grass and other horribleness that has sort of accumulated. And yeah, a clean rig, much like a clean car, is a happy rig and or car. And yeah, if you get yourself one of these little, I love this little thing. This little guy. It's got a lid on it, and you just put your alcohol in here. And what's cool about this thing is when you push down on the lid, it's hard for me to show you, but when you push down on the lid, it pumps more stuff up. So you just keep it back there, and then you just take your toothbrush and you just push down the lid, and it just puts a little bit of alcohol right on the tip of your toothbrush. It's really nice. Or Q-tip. And now I've got alcohol all over my work pad. That came up really nice though. So yeah, just maintain your rigs, man. I know it's like this weird rite of passage to have like a rig that's disgusting and horrible, and like somebody sees it and they're like, whoa, cool. But like realistically, when they're really dirty like that, you can't see what the hell's happening. And when you can't see what's happening, then like shit's gonna break and you're not gonna know about it. And like that sucks, you know? Like you get out to the field, you fly one battery, and then the wire that was holding on by a thread lets go. And that's it. You know, like now you're either repairing it at the field, which is stupid and annoying, or you're going home. You know, whereas like if you'd taken a couple of minutes when you came home last time, you could have easily seen the problem, and there you go. Done. No big deal. Right? It's a little bit cleaner. Didn't go totally off the rails with it. But yeah. And then just, like I said, visual inspection. Just look around. This arm is looking pretty bad, and I'm going to start to get stabbed by this carbon. But what you can do here, actually, a little trick, is you take your crazy glue and put some on there. Carbon fiber loves to be glued back together with super glue. So I can just like squeeze some of it in here, in between the layers, right? Get some in there. And then what I'm going to do is take... The better way to do this is to take some wax paper and surround this whole arm end and then put it in a vise. That's the right way to do it. But if you're in a hurry, just take your pliers, because Crazy Glue kicks pretty quickly. Just take your pliers and just hold it down like this. If you have some baking soda, you can sprinkle some baking soda on there. That will kick the Crazy Glue really fast. It's a little trick from Adam Savage if tested. Or you can buy accelerator, Crazy Glue accelerator, which is nice to have. I should actually get some of that. That would be really nice to have. Adam Savage actually prefers baking soda though, because it adds a little bit of like body to the material. Although he's making like props and shit with it, so for him it makes a lot more sense. I don't know if it would really help us out, but I mean, you probably have some in your kitchen, so I know I do. I'm just not willing to walk in there. But yeah, you can just grab it here, and this just squishes the carbon layers together so that when this Crazy Glue dries, they're a little bit stronger. If those layers of carbon fiber are all like splayed out, it's going to hit and it's going to break them individually. Whereas if they're together, they're going to be, they're going to fight together as one. So there you go. Just kind of push that. You probably need to hold it a little bit longer than that, but I don't feel like it. Let me get the little bit of the super glue off these pliers. Yeah, that's about it. I don't think it's a good idea to have like a half-hour long post-flight check, because you're going to get burned out on doing that, and then you're going to stop doing it. If you have like a nice, lean, quick post-flight check that only takes 2 or 3 minutes, you're probably going to be willing to do that way more often than if you have this big, convoluted checklist that you want to go through. You know what I'm saying? All right. So there you go, friends. It is almost 5 o'clock. I'm going to get caught up on chat and then we'll see where we're at. There's a chance I'm going to call this one a little bit early. I meant to use my Insta360 Go too, but I didn't. I want to start using this thing for like behind the scenes shit, and just like talking to camera stuff, because it would be cool to take some of the footage that I got from yesterday. Although the footage from yesterday, I can't really do much with until the Bravo show comes out. So, but I mean, I'm like 4 years behind on edits anyway, so it is what it is. But yeah, it would be nice to have like me talking to camera for a minute or two, and then I do like a simple edit with some of the flight footage. You know what I mean? But I'll get there. Well, little by little. I'm getting better. Espander says, "How do I find this thing?" I don't know. What's this thing, Espander? CMYK says, having video issues in CLI, how can I confirm the correct VTX table / settings for Rush Tiny Tank? It's even easier than that. This is what I do. I type Rush Tiny Tank VTX table into Google, and no matter what, someone on the internet will have the answer. And in this case, it looks like Oscar Liang's got your back. There you go. So it looks like he's got each one listed out with the appropriate VTX table. Is the tiny tank in here? There it is. There you go. Zip, zap, zippity zab. There is also a file that you can download. I have it on my desktop. I don't know where I got that file from. Yeah, so there you go. There's probably like a GitHub link somewhere in here. Yeah, I don't know. It's in there somewhere. I'm sure it's in there. All right. Espander, let me know what the thing is. And I think that's going to be the last. I'm just exhausted. I'm going to go. I think I'm going to actually take a nap. This week is going to be testing week for the live flying gig on the 9th. So, yeah. And I think I'm going to, I think I might start another fresh, I think I might try to bang out a fresh build this week for that event. You want to see what it's going to be? Hold on. Oh, I'm so sore too. Running around. Oh, I'm old. Hold on. I think it's gonna be this. No promises, but I think we gonna build this guy. This is the Get FPV something. I don't know. But 2.5 inch. You can. It's supposed to be a pusher in this configuration, but you can just flip these camera plates upside down and have it be a puller. So I'm gonna do that. Although unbelievably, in the product documentation, God knows if they actually tested this, but it's another story. In the product documentation, it does say that it gets 30% more runtime by being a pusher. You know, I mean, product documentation is notoriously just utter nonsense. So I don't buy it, but you know, technically that is something that we could test. Ooh, we could test that pretty easily too, couldn't we? Ooh, hold on, let me think about this. Put it there. Motors. Flip it. Camera plates. Yeah. Ooh! Ooh! Yo! We're gonna do some myth busting with this build. We're gonna myth bust the shit out of pusher versus puller. I've never seen anybody test that, but there's a lot of physics that already exists about aerodynamics. So pullers being more efficient it's not like we don't need to argue it. Like it's just a known thing. But there's a lot of variables in FPV. The main variable being we don't fly like this all the time. You know, like most of the aerodynamic data on wings and propellers is from airplanes where they fly like this, right? The propellers are always getting airflow rammed right into them. We fly around like this. So God knows what other weirdness there is flying around like this. So yeah, we'll do some real world testing. Ooh, okay. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe pushers are not as inefficient. I have a really hard time believing, though, that a pusher configuration, which all of the science and data said, not data, I guess just whatever. Yeah, I have a hard time believing that the pusher configuration is going to be more efficient when the science says it's going to be less efficient. You know what I'm saying? Like that seems like absolute nonsense to me. But I would love to be wrong, because there are some definite benefits to pusher rigs, for sure. This is one of the things I really like about this rig. These little foam rubber baby buggy bumpers just slot right on to these standoffs. And that's really cool, because this allows you to very quickly speed up or slow down this rig by, my guess would be like 15 miles an hour. Like putting these on is gonna slow this rig down a lot. Because, I mean, just look at it aerodynamically, you know? Like, what's more aerodynamic, this or this? You know, this is going to slide right through the wind. This is going to batter its way through the wind. But if you're flying around people in a very small space, like, oh, I don't know, at a wedding reception, these are going to help you out because it's going to slow that shit down, and that's what you want. But then if you've got to chase a horse down the street, pull these pieces of foam off and away you go. So yeah, this is, I've had this frame for a long time, and I've been meaning to build it, and I'm really excited that it's gonna get done now. I'm putting RCX 1306 6000 kV motors on here, and I'm gonna run them on 4S. This is only a 2.5-inch rig. I want this thing to be able to carry a full-size GoPro. I'm going to try to convince myself to finally strip down the Hero 6 that I still haven't used, that I've had for over a year, into a naked Hero 6, and then I can also put the naked GoPro on this. But these 1306s should make enough power to pretty easily lift a full-size GoPro on this. So yeah, I want it to be able to do either. We'll see. All right, friends, I'm gonna, 4:56, perfect. I'm barely ending early. I love you. I'm gonna go sit around. Ramdoggo says, look safe, 35 Fig. I don't know what that means, Ram. Catch me on the next one, and I'll figure out what that question was. CMYK says, tried that, but I'm getting video fuzz on another band when set to Fat Shark 8. Oh, 2 quads doing it? Okay, yeah, it's not that. Swapped out antennas, switch. It's got to be your, you got to test somebody else's goggles. You got to make sure it's not your goggle. It's starting to sound like goggle module. I mean, if it's happening on 2 quads, it's definitely not the Rush Tiny Tank. Unless they both have tiny tanks in them. Which would still be very weird. But it sounds like you need to test out somebody else's goggles, which is annoying. Unless you have like a monitor. All right, guys, I'm gonna go lay down. I'm just whooped from yesterday. Be good. I'll be back tomorrow night, 10 o'clock. It's a giveaway night. Giveaways tomorrow night. 4 giveaways tomorrow night. Get you some free shit. Probably damn near $200 worth of giveaways tomorrow night. 10 o'clock Eastern time. I'll see you then. Love you. Here's some Kiss Flying from 2019. Be as good as you can. Oh, hold on. I need to refresh. I'll be right back. It's gonna pinwheel for a second. All right, friends. Here's some flying. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow night at 10. Later.
Gyro. Got an ND8 on it. Alright. That, boys and girls, is